Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital, the sports tech venture capital company. On this show, I interview top sports entrepreneurs, athletes, and executives who are shaping and many times changing the sports business industry. You can subscribe to our show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our 76 Capital website. Today, my guest on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show is Zack Malet. Zack is ESPN's Senior Director of Business Development and Innovation. He negotiates and manages ESPN's existing and new third-party business agreements with a specific focus on the strategic innovation and technology partnerships. And we're going to have an amazing conversation. I'm so excited about this conversation. Zack's a Philly guy. He's wearing his 76ers jersey right there, his quarter zip, looking good. Zack, welcome to our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
Thanks so much, Wayne. I wore this just for you. It's fresh off a Celtics loss. It's the right time to wear it. So thanks for having me.
Well, it's awesome to have another Philly guy on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. I mean, a guy from Lower Merion, you know, working at ESPN is really amazing.
Yeah, you're well represented here with Philly fandom. You hear "Go Birds" pretty often in the cafeteria, and on the back of this laptop, I've got a nice, humble Eagles bumper sticker that everybody sees on a Zoom call. So it's apparent. We wear our fandom on our sleeves here, and it's a good thing. We're serving the fan, and we are fans at the Worldwide Leader.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably high-fiving in the hallways with Kevin Nagandi. I mean, is that what goes on there?
Yeah. Oftentimes, well, during Eagles season for sure. Sixers season, more of kind of misery loves company, but Bird season, we'll give a couple pounds.
Well, let's get right into it here. I mean, you're the Senior Director of Business Development and Innovation at ESPN. What does that mean, and what do you do?
Yeah. So we are in charge of meeting external third-party companies and figuring out how they work into our ESPN goals. We have 4 goals in BDI, and I'll go through each of them and kind of examples of public third parties we work with. So first goal, it's classic BD, is OI. We're distinct when we mention operating income because it's both new revenue, but also operational efficiencies. So we fish where the fish are. We try to find new revenue, things like creating a free ad-supported TV channel, things like COSM, things like integrating ourselves into the XR space, all of the ways that we're trying to think about creating new revenue. We've got an official ticketing partnership with Vivid Seats, so we're trying to work into that space, and we recently launched ESPN Experiences to get into sports travel. Second big pillar for us is innovation. It's critical for ESPN to put their best foot forward in innovation. We've been competing against some of the most innovative companies in the world for eyeballs and with our rights holders. So it's our mandate here to make sure that ESPN continues to innovate. So we do that what's spearheaded through our Edge Innovation Center. So between Accenture, Meta, Microsoft, and WSC, we have 4 core incredible partners that push forward innovation for ESPN. All through supplementary work, we help our internal technology, product, engineering folks with all of the work that we do externally. And we're super proud about what we created, and there's a lot of innovations that have been offshooted from the Edge Innovation Center. Next one up is audience expansion. So I'd say the 2 key third-party partnerships that we've published in audience expansion for trying to reach more youthful and more female audience are, one, our Epic Fortnite Island. So we've launched both a Epic ESPN Football Island this past fall, and then we recently launched an Epic ESPN Basketball Island this spring. So we actually partnered with the NFL for the Football Island, and we had a bunch of different IP from the NFL that matched our Monday Night Football games and our playoff games. We actually dressed up the island when we had the Simpsons Funday Football, and it was all about trying to reach a new audience and engage with them in a way ESPN hasn't before. So super proud about what we're creating with Epic. There's a long view on how we're trying to work with Epic and Fortnite in particular. Bob Iger's been very public about the future Disney interoperable island that we're going to work with Epic on. So excited to get there. And we are a couple minutes in, and we hit the over. I'm going to mention NHL Big City Greens Classic. So that's my pride and joy, just the animated telecast, turning live sports into animated cartoons. We are the number one company in the world to create this, both in the rights holders that we have in place and the rights that we have with third-party leagues and conferences, and then also just the Disney IP. We've got a treasure trove between Toy Story Funday Football and The Simpsons most recently. Dunk the Halls was just an unbelievable succession to everything that we're trying to create with animated telecasts and reach new and different audiences. So there's a lot there to be continued to be pushed forward on the animated telecast space, and we're super excited about that. The last pillar that we're focused on is direct to consumer. So we have ESPN will be going direct to consumer for the first time. The full flagship network, the full big mothership will be going direct to consumer in publicly stated as this fall. And we are at BDI trying to supplement both internal work and a lot of the third-party work that happens on our platform distribution group, my old group, as well as some of our ad sales partners on how we make the new ESPN direct-to-consumer service as amazing as possible, and we work with third parties to do that. So those are the four core pillars and some of the third parties we work with there. Our model, as you know, Wayne, is we meet hundreds of companies. I think we've met about 400 companies in the last 3 years. Try to hear out exactly what the value proposition is and figure out how it could fit within those four core goals. And that's the exercise. We've been super, super successful. We have around a couple dozen partners in place right now for long-term agreements. And we're only about 3.5 years old as a department. So super excited about what we've done already.
You've been doing incredible things, and I definitely want to get into the big city greens and what you're doing from an animation perspective, because I know that's your baby, and that's something that you're extremely proud of, and you should be for what you've been able to do and pull that off. And it's really incredible to see. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I mean, you can watch; it's all over the internet. I mean, it's really, really cool to see what you've done there. But you mentioned sort of on your fourth pillar, the flagship, not flagship. It's not going to be flagship, which is, this is kind of hot, hot off the press here with the fact that Bob Iger and Jimmy Pitaro have been talking about this, direct to consumer product, and it's about to have a name, right?
Yeah. So yesterday was our quarterly earnings, and Bob stated that we'll roll out name and pricing next week. So super excited for the world to hear everything that's in store. And I think it's really going to serve the fan long-term and short-term for what we're trying to do this fall. So very excited about what I know, and only it's the tip of the iceberg of what I know about what we're going to create. And I think it's going to be really helpful for the fans, and awesome that we'll be announcing a lot of things next week.
Yeah. I mean, maybe give a little bit of what you know or what is out there today as to potentially what this is. Maybe you could share some of that.
Yeah, totally. So there's definitely a focus on integrating fantasy, bet, and commerce into our flagship product. Bob, Jimmy, and really every executive has been really public about how we serve the fan in new ways. We have ESPN Bet today, which is largely off platform. There's really awesome integrations to our app, but really integrating that in a new way for the flagship proposition will be super helpful. And then fantasy, I'll just say we've got tens of millions of fantasy consumers. It's a new way that we can, the Venn diagram overlaps pretty healthily with our linear network usage in fantasy. So I think there's really awesome things we can do there. And commerce is just something that we've always wanted to experiment with as well. So those are the big items that they've mentioned so far. And obviously having a pricing and the ability for a consumer to purchase this directly through ESPN will be super helpful and serve a lot of fans in new ways.
I mean, it must be great for you and, Kevin Lopes and Ali and the rest of your team, how much Bob Iger, Jimmy Pitaro, are so, forward facing and so forward thinking, I would say, right. With innovation and the use of technology and really leaning in on what's next. I mean, being in the role that you're in and having leaders like that are just saying, give me more, like what's the next thing, go figure it all out, must be really great for you in your seat.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's also a really healthy goal that Jimmy Pitaro puts up top and in every meeting that he wants to innovate. Like there are core 4 or 5 goals at ESPN at any given time. always tell folks I was at ESPN at the beginning of my career. I left for about 6 years. And when I came back, we get this card that goes over our 4 core goals, and innovation is at the top. It's quality storytelling, innovation, direct consumer, audience expansion. Where 4 years ago, I think it was, there was 1 year where it was ensuring SEC Network launched and ensuring, we're growing our ad sales, like really having innovation up high and North communicating down that we need to continue to figure out how we innovate is so super healthy for the company and super healthy for my group when we're working internally on trying to help folks innovate and push forward. So it's exciting, and it comes from the top. As you mentioned, Bob Iger is unbelievable in his innovations, and he pushes it. And I feel like every quarterly earnings and talks about every new innovative technology that we're bringing to market. So super, super awesome to be a part of a company that cares about that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I still call you guys the worldwide leader in sports. I know that's not the tagline at this time, but I mean, certainly that when we look from a 76 Capital perspective, we kind of look up onto the mountaintop, and there's ESPN, and to hear you guys and hear Bob talking about innovation and technology, it's such a big thing, certainly because that's what we do here at 76 Capital, investing in the entrepreneurs who are doing the next thing and really trying to, bring tech, data, and analytics to the world of sports. It just means a lot to hear you and the whole ESPN organization, espousing, a lot of the same things that we talk about.
Yeah, and it's amazing the relationship we have with companies like yours that link us with companies that we could work with, and it's really just that is the way ESPN can innovate in the future by doing a function like mine, hearing from you guys what's out there, what's in your portfolio, and meeting hundreds of companies. I'm super proud of going back to Big City Greens, meeting Beyond Sports a little bit before they ended up being purchased by Sony, and then figuring out how we could create animated telecasts while they were going through the acquisition. I'm also super proud of our partnership with Status Pro, the developer of the NFL VR game Pro Era. They've been on our radar for a very long time, and we met them very early on, where they had their CEO on, and it was super exciting to hear about what they were projecting in the future. We met them before they published their first NFL VR game, which was just kind of crazy to tell people internally, like, this is going to happen, and it ended up happening, and they were really successful with their launch and their initial sales. So super incredible to meet so many pioneer CEOs for emerging companies. One of my favorite stories, Wayne, I forget if I told you, was meeting COSM, Peter Murphy and Jeb Terry early on, and them explaining we're going to have 180-degree domes, and there's going to be 600 people in stands inside a dome looking at a college football game and an NFL game and a UFC fight, and it's going to be packed. We're going to sell a bunch of tickets, and then I had to go and tell people internally, like, this is going to happen. They've broken ground in LA. They've broken ground in Dallas. Like, this is going to be something that fans are going to love to consume, and figure out what the offshoot of that will be next. So I'm super, super lucky to be in the position I am to meet these companies early on. And
it's great. I mean, look, we certainly love it. I mean, as you mentioned, with COSM, they were the company that bought our company C360, the Pylon Cam company, with our technology inside of it, which is a really big part of the future of what really enabling some of the enabling technology around COSM and what they're doing and what Jeb's doing and the whole team there. I mean, just it's great to see what they've done and the success they've had and the amount of money they've raised since acquiring, one of our portfolio companies. And, we've got, hopefully some more, and I would say not hopefully, there's going to be some more news, hopefully, in the future between us, which I'm really excited about. And just, that's one of the great things that, all of our portfolio companies, that we talk about and how we can work together is super, super great. And it's really good to see you leaning in on all of this. And, one of the things that I thought was really interesting that your group has been working on, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, is your ESPN Experiences, and what that, and then why don't you share a little bit of what that is and what you believe that will be in the future?
Yeah. So ESPN Experiences is something we're very proud of on the BDI side. It's led by Ali Biacco on my squad. She's the GM of ESPN Experiences, and anytime you launch something new, it takes a village, and new isn't a synonym of easy. So it's really a huge undertaking between ESPN, Adventures by Disney, our synergy groups, our marketing groups. Everybody's been super collaborative and had a lot of teamwork in launching this thing. So what it is, ESPN Experiences is our ESPN first sports travel brand that we launched last August before our first Major League Baseball tour. So we are looking to get into the sports travel space and get a part of the market share of this booming sports travel, sports experiences space. The numbers are just staggering how much money is spent in the sports travel space. So we are currently targeting the top of the pyramid, the VIP high incomes, just to experiment on what works. We want to figure out how do we have the white glove treatment and figure out how we have smaller, intimate settings and figure out what works, what doesn't work. So we're still in the test and assess stage. We've done a Northeast ballparks tour in collaboration with our good friends at Major League Baseball. We went to Red Sox, then Bristol campus. We had 40 people touring Bristol for the first time, then Yankees, and then Major League Baseball, Sunday Night Baseball. We went to a Phillies game. I had to integrate the Phillies. They beat the Braves that game, and it was super special. We then went to the Rose Bowl for Beyond the Road.
That was the first trip, right? So the first trip was the baseball trip, right? And how many days was that trip?
Yeah, it was 4 total days. 4 nights, 5 days, and it was over Labor Day weekend. And then we moved on to the Rose Bowl tour second.
Right. So that was a second completely separate cohort of people that registered and signed up. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're flying people across the country, but I know that it was one.
Eventually, Wayne, we've talked to plenty of folks who would like to do that. They want to get on jets and go around the country together. But what's exciting, to your point, Wayne, is we actually had a good amount of overlap of people who went on the first trip for Major League Baseball, Northeast Ballparks tour, and then went with us to Rose Bowl in Pasadena. And one of the common threads I'll just touch on quickly is we integrated both the game day and behind the scenes access and meeting ESPN announcers, ESPN radio calls. Michael Kay was there for the Yankees game, and we had the whole college football radio crew and Kirk Herbstreit. We all got to meet Kirk Herbstreit's dog on the grass in Pasadena. And what really resonated with me afterwards was, one, how much folks enjoyed it and the camaraderie of getting to experience everything over multi-days together, but also how much brand deposit there is for ESPN afterwards. So folks wrote in just really emotional, for me, letters to read about how they're never going to watch ESPN the same way. They now understand all of the incredible craftsmanship that goes into things like college football wraps and college football halftime shows. They felt like they never understood all of the incredible work that our production assistants do to put something on air, and they're never going to watch ESPN the same way. And studio tours were they popped. Everybody just loved being behind a studio, being in the Sports Center studio, and that's the stuff we can provide. Like we have not opened the gates publicly to Bristol campus for purchase direct to consumer for a very long time. So we're super excited to bring people on campus and show them what we do. So our next ESPN experience is in June. It's June 18th through 23rd for the Travelers Championship. PGA Tour Travelers Championship happens actually 20 minutes away from here in Cromwell at TPC Cromwell, and we've already publicly announced that we've gone on sale, and super excited about the cohort that's going to be joining us both on Bristol campus, across the street at the hotel, and then over at the Travelers Championship for 4 days of an incredible experience. So there's a lot to be had here. Again, we're starting very high up, and then we're going to continue to broaden the addressable market. A good indication of this is we've already announced our successive tour in Baha Mar. So the ESPN Ultimate Fantasy Draft will be having our ESPN Fantasy talent all travel down to Baha Mar and have and host hopefully dozens of folks who are going to have their fantasy draft down in Baha Mar and get Field Yates and other talent to come by and give them draft scorecards and tell them who won their draft and who didn't win their draft. So super excited about that. That's in August. So that'll be broadening our addressable market. There'll be more folks that can go on that tour than our previous kind of intimate settings, but there's a lot to be had here. It's an incredible brand. I think the logo is one of the my favorite logos that I've seen that ESPN's built, and super excited about figuring out more partnerships in the future.
Well, I mean, you talk about kind of this unbelievable experience. So it's like it's the other side of the velvet rope that most of us don't ever really get to see, right? And that's what it's and that's what these experiences are all about.
We're calling the PGA Tour Travelers Tour Inside the Ropes. So that's the hope. We're going to have plenty of ropes where we let people into places where they've never been before. And it's also, it is a part of the ESPN experience. Us in ad sales, our programming partners, and me on the platform distribution side for years have gotten to have just unique experiences where we work with our clients. And we'd love to bring that to more folks in the future as well.
You know, I know one of the other things that you're really focused on is, you mentioned this a little bit of, is XR and AR and sort of the future of what augmented reality, what, you know, this extended reality is all about, and kind of that next viewing experience. What are some of your things that you're thinking about with that? Anything that you can talk about around that at this point?
Yeah, we're so excited that we can talk about it. We tried to be a first or an early mover in the XR space for ESPN. So we have Meta has joined our Edge Innovation Center in the VR category, and a part of what we've already built with Meta since last February. So it's a little over a year old. We've had ESPN highlights in virtual reality inside an ESPN environment on Meta headset. So if you go into a stadium, there's an ESPN room. Go in there and you'll get women's college basketball, college football. We've had Ocho in XR as well when you go in there. And it's really compelling content. It's an amazing experience. And we've been really proud of the partnership that we've built with Meta. We also have a full-blown ESPN universe that we call ESPN Tailgate. So ESPN Tailgate is within Meta's Horizon Worlds, and you can do home run derbies, you can swing a bat, you can walk around to studios and pretend like you're on the First Take studio, and then you can also go into an immersive theater inside this Meta world and watch the different content that I just mentioned that we've done in VR. So an interesting piece to connect here, Wayne, that's really, really fun to talk about publicly is how this connects with a lot of our projects with COSM. So it starts with COSM as our production vendor. They come in and they put incredible immersive cameras on top of our existing cameras, and they shoot everything in immersive. And that goes both to the domes in LA and Dallas now, and two more publicly announced in the future. And then afterwards, we clip up highlights and we can put them on Meta Stadium as well as Meta Horizon World. So it's seamless. It's super efficient. It's taken a long time for us to get there. Jeff G on my team is the one who's managed this whole process and really building the XR product for the XR vertical for ESPN. So I'd say we're in early innings, but I also just want to give a kind of commend the sports industry on how we got here. I think one of my favorite parts about this job was going to rights holders and saying, we'd really like to put your content in this crazy immersive dome. It's not built yet, but it will be built. And then eventually we're going to put it in a VR headset. And, you know, they could have looked at me. They probably did look at me like I had like five eyes and that I was just talking crazy talk, but they really wanted to innovate, and every one of them certainly had questions and understanding how this would work, but they've taken the leap of faith with us. And I've been super excited about what we've built so far in XR and excited for what's next. I want to just touch on another piece of where else XR can go. Wayne, just the Status Pro VR game and what we've already integrated on our NFL Live with Dan Orlovsky, that's really an incredible use case that I think we can bring to more and more fans. Like we are, if folks haven't seen it, it's Dan Orlovsky did a weekly segment this fall where he broke down plays that happened on Sunday. He would break them down during NFL Live on Tuesday, and it'd be for about 5 minutes. He would have the screen up and show like a Josh Allen pass and a play that really made solidified the game. And he would talk about exactly what Josh Allen was seeing, why he made the read he made, and broke down the play from the quarterback's point of view. That's the biggest point, is that because we have this new technology, we're able to give first-person point of view and really give a fan an experience they've never had before. It was probably the most dense learning I've had in a very long time, Wayne. I'm sitting there being like, okay, so this is what a nickel package means. This is what happens when there's a blitz from the Y spot. It was just unbelievable. I think a lot of folks probably retained, 99% more than I did, but I just came out of those 5 minutes feeling like I actually understood a little bit more of the complexities that go into really what looks like routine quarterback plays. And I think that's a direction we can go. It's not just football. It could be, other sports, hockey, basketball, etc. So I think there's a lot more we can do in training and teaching and really giving fans and up-and-coming youth athletes a good perspective of what goes on in professionals' minds when they're playing this professional game.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such an amazing conversation, and I really, Zach, I really appreciate you joining us on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. And as we start to wind down the show, I mean, I think about a Philly kid now at Bristol. You are as Senior Director of Business Development and Innovation, you're in the middle of everything that's next. It must be so exciting for you. Was there a mentor or a person that helped guide you through your journey to get to where you are today?
Yeah, that's an incredible question, Wayne, and I'll probably have a long answer because I've had a bunch. I'm so lucky that there's been a lot of folks that have I consider mentors, and they've been invested in my career for a very long time. I'll give the quick synopsis of I came into sports through Shapiro Negotiations Institute. Ron Shapiro is the MLB agent for Cal Ripken. He works on NBA consultancy as well. And he is just, I come to him with challenges and look for his perspective, not annually, but every couple years, probably every Olympic year, there's something that I ask him for. And he's been super helpful for me throughout. I'd also just shout out, I was a beneficiary of being in one of, I think, the most incredible college sports programming rooms to ever exist at ESPN. We had Justin Connolly, who's I consider a mentor to this day. He's now president of Disney Media Distribution, went to affiliate after he launched the SEC Network in college sports programming. We have Roz Durant, head of programming, and a bunch of other departments as well at the time. Alon Ben-Anan, who's I consider a mentor as well. And one of my favorite bosses is Nick Dawson. So he currently heads up college sports programs still to this day. So all of them I consider mentors. Brent Colborn as well in programming has really taken an incredible investment in my career. So shorter answer is I think it's really healthy to have a bunch of mentors, getting a bunch of advice. And I'm so incredibly lucky to have those folks in my life.
That's amazing. I got, I'm sure that when people watch and listen to this episode, they're going to be excited like I am. I mean, your overall enthusiasm and passion for what you do. I mean, it just comes out. It's really awesome. So if you're a young company, you're doing something, kind of the next thing in the sports industry, how do they reach out and get in touch with you, ESPN Next, anyone on your team? Like, what's the best way for groups to get in touch with you and try to be the next one of these companies that you talk about as part of ESPN?
Yeah. So I'm the easiest way to reach out cold is through LinkedIn. I try to go through bi-weekly or monthly to go through LinkedIn messages and figure out whether there's an opportunity or not there. I usually ask for folks to engage with me over LinkedIn first, and if there's something there, we move to email, and then we eventually get on the phone together. So that's the best way. And then obviously knowing folks like you, Wayne, is super helpful. You've got my number, and I'm excited that we keep building a relationship together. So introductions and folks like you who've verified that these companies are ones we should work with is super helpful as well.
Well, as we wrap up, I mean, there's I have to ask, I mean, is there something that you're looking for now, or something that you think is going to be, what is that thing that people are looking at you right now going, I don't know, Zach, that's a little bit far out there?
Yeah, there's plenty of those things right now. And that's a big piece I hope people take away from this is we have the latitude to test and assess. So not everything works out perfect. And we're very lucky that we have the latitude to test things. But I'm super excited about what we're building on XR, but I'm really excited about more gaming opportunities. We've seen that our fan base is receptive to ESPN engaging in the gaming space, sports video gaming in particular. We have a great relationship on the ESPN Bet side, and we're mostly focused on more, figuring out how we dive deeper in with Epic. Super excited about our basketball and football Fortnite Islands, and I think there's more there, and I think there's a way that we can increase our both audience expansion, innovation, all of the pillars that I mentioned at the top through gaming. So that's the big one.
Well, it's been great having you on the show. It was so much fun, moderating your panel at the Active Conference. That was great down in Texas, and look forward to seeing you at the next great conference event. Who knows where it's going to be, but or maybe even here in Philly. So again, thanks so much for joining us on the show and sharing all of your insights and thoughts on truly what's next and what's happening at ESPN.
Thanks so much for having me, Wayne, and appreciate you making the time with me.
On behalf of the entire 76 Capital team, thank you for joining us for this edition of our Sports Leadership Show. Please remember to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast